Hey loves, happy Tuesday. I hope all is well. Today is Taco Tuesday, and for today's topic, I'm going to be speaking on how to spot a energy vampire as well as the signs. So this is just a term, but when it comes to a energy vampire, they basically feed off of your emotional energy. You'll notice that when you are around somebody that is a energy vampire, you'll feel really exhausted a lot of the time. You'll feel drained after being around them and really tired, and you might even start yawning a lot. Just to name a few examples of some energy vampires, you have the manipulator, you have the narcissist, you have the controller, the dependent, the minimizer, as well as the hot and cold. It's really good to always make sure that you are protecting your energy, so I'm going to get into the signs as well as some tips. So if you're interested, let's get into it. Okay, so for starters, one of the major signs that somebody is a energy vampire is when they are extremely codependent on you and your energy. Now, there's nothing wrong with needing your partner or needing your friends and just needing somebody in general and wanting somebody around or just wanting somebody to help you and be there for you. But when you notice that it gets to a point where they're just completely 100% relying on you, they have no type of independence whatsoever, or they're just always constantly needing you and your attention, that's a major sign. When it comes to this situation, you may tend to feel a little drained trying to keep up with giving them your energy and giving them your attention. So you have to be aware of that. Now, like I said, that's only when it's to an extreme extent. There's nothing wrong with somebody needing you or depending on you, but just make sure that whoever that person is, that they are also independent within themselves and that they're not relying completely on you and just codependent. Another major sign that somebody is a energy vampire is when they love drama. People that love drama love to feed off of other people's negative emotions, other people's negative scenarios, and they feed off of that. It makes them feel good, it makes them feel better, it kind of like powers them up in a sense. So if you notice that people around you are constantly just gossiping, they're in drama, they're always talking about this person, always talking about that person, always putting their energy and their 2 cents into everything, you have to be aware of that type of person because they are definitely a energy vampire. And not only that, but just entertaining gossip and all of those other things, it's so draining. So to have somebody around you that's constantly gossiping and constantly just in drama is gonna drain your energy as well. Another sign is somebody that is constantly belittling you or trying to bring you down. A lot of the time with energy vampires, they don't have enough energy within themselves. They are not high vibrational. So they have to make others feel low in order to make themselves feel higher, make themselves feel better, and give themselves that energy boost that they need. So if you're with somebody or you're in a relationship or a friendship and you notice that that person always has nothing but negative things to say about you, they're constantly nitpicking what you do or how you are as a person, then you might want to make sure that you distance yourself from that individual. Because 9 times out of 10, they're most likely feeding off of that negative response that you get or seeing you in that negative or emotional feeling when they're belittling you. So another sign is when somebody is extremely charismatic. Now, having charisma is not a negative thing, but you'll notice that a lot of people that do have charisma, they tend to use their charisma to get what they want and they lack emotional depth. So a lot of the times with their charisma, they'll gain the things that they want, the people that they want, and they'll draw them in. But then once you are in their energy, you notice that they have nothing else to offer. And these type of people that use their charisma for negative things and for their own personal selfish benefits, they will use that charisma to draw people in and gain the trust of others in order for them to use them for their own benefits. Another major sign that somebody is an energy vampire is when they start making you feel bad or guilt tripping you into things. So say that you don't want to do something or you're not able to give them what they need. They'll guilt trip you and make you feel as though you're not good enough or like you're doing something wrong or like you don't care about them just because you're not giving them what they want in that certain moment. The next one is somebody that will prey on your kindness. And this one is mostly important for my empaths out there. This was something that I struggled with, especially growing up. I've always been very empathic. I've always been very sensitive and kind and just pure and genuine to people. And a lot of the times what energy vampires will do when they see this is they'll use that to their advantage. So they may even victimize themselves and put themselves in situations in order for you to feel bad so that you can help them and pour into them. And they'll basically use you in this way. This is a really dangerous manipulation tactic as well, because what they'll do is they may get in situations or put themselves in situations purposely in order for you to kind of save them in a sense and be there for them. So another major sign of an energy vampire is somebody that will minimize your problems. If anybody is minimizing your problems in your life, you need to kick them out, because at the end of the day, if you are going through something or you have an issue and somebody is trying to make you feel as though what you are feeling is not as important or not as grand, and they try to kind of minimize that, that is not a good person that you need to be around, and they're most likely an energy vampire, because they don't necessarily care about your issues or what you have going on. They're using you for their own selfish benefits, so they will minimize your problems. And once they do this as well, you'll notice that they tend to magnify their problems and make it seem as though their problems are more grand, which is just not right. That's not okay. So please stay away from people that are like that. Another major sign that somebody is an energy vampire is when they take no accountability or no responsibility. These type of people will use you for all your emotional energy, and then when it comes time for you to need them, they will not be there for you. They'll always deflect a situation, and whenever something happens, they'll make you feel as though you're in the wrong, even if they were in the wrong in some form, and they won't take any accountability whatsoever. They don't like to take responsibility for their actions, and they'll leave others to clean up whatever the situation was or the mess and to kind of deal with it themselves. Another major sign is somebody that's constantly negative or can't enjoy the moment. Now, there's nothing wrong with being around somebody that's going through something and they're just having a hard time, or, you know, they're having a bad day. But if you notice that this person is always speaking about negative things, they're always talking about negative events and negative things that are happening, or they just can never seem to have a positive outlook on life, they're just very pessimistic at all times, then that's a major sign. You do not want to be around somebody that is just consuming and dwelling in that type of energy. Now, like I said, it's different if somebody is just going through something. You know, people battle with depression, people, you know, life gets hard, it gets real out here. So I'm not saying that to say that if somebody is in a negative point in their life and they're just going through a lot and they're down and out, to just abandon them, because at the end of the day, you want to be there for those that you care about. But if you know that this person has always been like that, you've never really seen any other side to them, and they're just constantly pessimistic, then yeah, that's a major sign. Because these type of people as well, if you are the type of person that's optimistic, you always have a good energy, you have a good vibe, you're very kind, you have a good spirit, people are going to want to use that when they lack that within themselves. So they'll want to keep you around because they don't have that. A lot of the time, energy vampires, narcissists, all these things, they're drawn to people that have light within them because they lack that. So you want to be careful. So now I'm going to go into some examples so that you guys can know and have a better understanding. The first one is the person that wants to control you. This type of person will take charge of every situation, want things only their way, and they will use you. The next one is the manipulator. So this person will convince you to do what they want, and at the same time, they will convince you that it's what you wanted to do all along. It's like a psychological game. This also leaves you feeling exhausted and confused, so that's never a good sign. The next one is the narcissist, and this type of person will constantly seek attention, constantly want admiration and other people's energy. They'll always want you to consistently praise them, and they tend to have a very big ego. The next one is somebody that's very hot and cold. So like one day they'll be very nice to you, they'll be very kind, but then the next day they kind of like switch and they keep you in this emotional roller coaster. That is also a major way that they like to drain your energy. Another one is the dependent. So this is the type of person that will always seek out validation from other people. They do not know how to validate themselves, and they're constantly seeking out approval. Now with this type of person, it may just be a trauma response, so that's why you have to just use your discernment. They may not know and be aware that they are draining your energy or that they are an energy vampire, so just be cautious of that. Another one is the victim. So this person will always victimize themselves. They'll always want sympathy from others, so they'll put themselves in certain predicaments and situations in order to gain sympathy as well as emotional support. So the next one is the minimizer. This person will constantly diminish others' successes and goals, and they'll always put others down in order to build themselves up. All right, so now let's get into some tips on how to deal with an energy vampire. So the first one, and this is the most important, is to make sure that you are setting clear boundaries. If somebody, for one, doesn't respect your boundaries, they do not need to be in your life at all anyways. So make sure that you are setting boundaries, because people that are energy vampires, they just want to take, and they don't have any boundaries or limits when it comes to them taking. So make sure that you're setting healthy boundaries and that you're not always constantly involving yourself with these type of people, because they will drain your energy, and it's going to be very hard for you to accomplish the things that you want to do and to bring into fruition the things that you are trying to manifest or just work towards in general, because they are constantly draining you of your life force. Another tip is to not feed off of them. So when you see that they are either gaslighting you, manipulating you, minimizing you, do not feed off of that, and don't even give them any type of attention. Don't give them any type of energy. Don't show them any type of emotion or that what they're doing is affecting you, because they're going to feed off of that. Another tip is to be upfront and speak up when you are in these predicaments, because it may be a little confusing in some moments. You may not always understand, because I'm not gonna lie, when you're dealing with a energy vampire, it is sometimes very confusing, especially depending on the type of one that you're dealing with. You might feel bad for them in a sense and want to be there for them, but don't feel bad for setting healthy boundaries or taking yourself out of the equation completely if you do notice that it's getting excessive, because you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. The next one is to prioritize self-care, and this one I love the most, because after dealing with somebody that is a energy vampire, you're going to feel very depleted to the point where you won't even feel like getting up to do your task. It is that serious. So make sure that you are practicing self-care, that you are exercising, that you're eating well, that you're drinking water, that you're getting out into nature. Especially if you've been around somebody that has been draining your energy, get out into nature. Especially make sure that you ground yourself. So make sure that you are taking the time to pour back into yourself after being around those individuals, and that you are taking time to practice self-care. Nature is very healing and energizing, so I highly recommend going out into nature. Now, last but not least, I'm going to give some tips on how to spot if you may be an energy vampire. You may be unintentionally, and that is okay. We all go through things. So the first one is to manage your stress in a healthy way. For me personally, I like to journal. I like to meditate, do yoga, I pray, and I do all of these things so that I can manage my own stress, so that I am not putting that onto somebody else. Now, me personally, for example, I used to be the type of person that I would never talk to anybody about anything that I was going through, because I don't even like feeling like a burden to somebody. So when I do open up and when I do express something to somebody, or I do talk about something that's affecting me, it's because it's really affecting me in that moment. So don't be scared to open up and to ask for help, or to vent to somebody. Just make sure that you're keeping a healthy balance, and that you are also working through those things on your own if it's something that you can handle on your own. If you can't handle it on your own, make sure that you're getting that extra support from somebody that you need, that you trust, somebody that genuinely will be there for you and care. And as well, if you really need the extra help, a therapist, I highly recommend that as well. Next tip is to increase your self-awareness. Now, this is such a big one, because a lot of people are not self-aware at all. They do not go within, they do not do the inner work. They don't look at themselves and take a step back and say, maybe I'm tripping, maybe I was wrong in that scenario, maybe I was doing a little bit too much. Or they won't think about if they are being a bother to somebody, or if they are being draining to somebody. So make sure that you are constantly practicing self-awareness, and that you are constantly looking in the mirror, because if you do not do any type of self-reflection or self-awareness, and you don't question yourself at all, you may be a narcissist, in all honesty. So please don't fall into that. Make sure that you are looking at yourself as well, especially if you're the type of person to think that everybody's always doing something to you and everybody else is always wrong and you're never wrong. That is just, no, absolutely not. Now, the next tip is to start recognizing the good things that you have and practicing gratitude. This helps a lot, because once you start practicing that, it keeps you in a good vibration. It keeps you in a very positive energy, so that will help you as well. The last tip I will say is to fill your life with activities that you love and enjoy. This is going to help to not only keep you up, but it'll also give you something to look forward to as well. So that is it, you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace and much love.
Look at the streets, you are not my mate. If you become a chef, not be head of state. But my people then go say I know one bite, I know one die.